With more money comes more problems, and with more cruise ship passengers comes the possibility of more pollution. The Saint Lucia partnership with Global Port Holdings promises to increase the number of cruise ship visitors to Saint Lucia, but while Saint Lucia needs the money, it can live without the pollution. Slaspa Seaports manager Adrian Hilaire, however, thinks that international protocols are enough to protect Saint Lucia from increasing marine pollution.
Most of these vessels are designed to process the waste on board. So in terms of whether the compliance to the marine environment, it is paramount that they do.
Hilaire told Choice that in his experience, the high standards and protocols established in ports of more developed nations help to protect the wider oceans and smaller ports of countries which may not yet have up-to-date environmental legislation in place.
I can tell you, cruise vessels, in terms of compliance to regulations, I always like to answer to give an example. I work on a tanker before. Tankers carry fuel, and I'll tell you, you feel safer on a tanker than on any other vessel. And the reason being, a tanker, because of the cargo they carry, they have so many procedures in place to avoid fires, explosions, that you are working on a bomb, but you are safe. With cruise vessels, because of the very nature of the business and because of the places that they go, compliance is at a very high level. At times, you can have maybe the water being dirty, and you'll find a cruise passenger might put an article in a paper or someplace to say there is pollution by the vessel. So most of these vessels are designed to process the waste on board. So in terms of whether the compliance to the marine environment, it is paramount that they do. And in all of the islands, we have
There are numerous international protocols and agreements to protect the seas that have yet to become legislation in some of the less developed nations of the world. In another industry, this may be a problem, but according to Hilaire, the cruise ship industry, by its very nature, prioritizes compliance.
Cleaner oceans and safer seas, that's the focus of the IMO. And what the different maritime administrations in the region do is they will do the port state controls to do spot checks on vessels to make sure that they have all of these things in place. If you have waste, they can check your books to see how did you get rid of the waste. So the vessels are compliant. And if you notice, even in the US, any infringement by any cruise vessel, the amount of money that they have to pay. So the vessels that come to Saint Lucia do not only come to Saint Lucia, they also call the US, they call the European ports. So it's not like they do not have the facilities on board. They must have the facilities on board to be compliant.
And cruise ships are also constrained to be compliant by factors that may not affect cargo ships in the same way.
With the IMO regulations, most of the states would have signed party to those regulations. So sometimes, even if you have not made it into law in your country, the fact that these vessels are registered in places that have enforced it, the fact that you're flying their flag means that you have to be compliant.
For Choice News Now, I'm Jason Seafley.